What's up YouTube, Fantard here. I am back from 2 weeks of no videos whatsoever. These past 2 weeks I was in Puerto Rico, no Wi-Fi or electricity. I was basically living in the countryside of Puerto Rico, enjoying the farm life, the water life, yada everything. Awesome time there. And I was basically cut off from society for 2 whole weeks. And if you know anything about the digital world, that's a lot of time. So I have no idea what has been going around with the anime community or what's happened in the manga chapters. The only thing that I do know is when I first came back from the airport, I came back and this morning I caught up with RE0 and I thought, oh, okay, I'll just do a review for the episodes, you know, episodes 16, 17, and 18. But I don't think I'm going to combine it all because that's going to be a really long guys video. So I'm going to split them up into 3 different videos. And I was thinking like if that was a good idea because I'm like, oh, I don't remember what happened in episode 16 now because it was the freaking craziness that went on in those 3 episodes. So much has happened. Every other story or show that I review, I'll probably do a live reaction to all the manga chapters that I missed out on. Like Fairy Tail, 7 Deadly Sins, and all that. But I'm back. 2 weeks I was gone, and now I'm back. Let's get back into the grind. I have a whole bunch of catching up to do. And let's get right into this episode. Episode 16. Oh, okay. Time to switch gears. Alright. Oh my god. Okay. What happened? I'm forgetting what happened in this episode, because I just finished episode 18 now. Okay. So in this episode, Subaru, after he experiences all the shit that he went through in the previous episode, that episode was crazy, by the way, with Puck chopping his head off. He goes back and he tries to do like the same approach, kind of ish. He's been doing the same approach over and over again, and it's working most of the time. But right now, he seems to be stalling when it comes to his approach because people keep dying. Because it shows how big of a task that Subaru has when it comes to stopping the witch cult. So what he does is that he goes to all the other royals, you know, the ones who are up for choosing of the selection for it to be the priestess. He goes to the Crush, and she doesn't help him because she thinks that he doesn't want to save Emilia. He just wants revenge. And man, the animation was freaking awesome in this scene. The way his anger for the witch cult is like overflowing his body, his eyes. I honestly thought he was gonna go like werewolf or something because his eyes freaking went all freaking glowy. I was like, what the fuck? That was awesome. The angle and everything, the animation. Oh, the soundtrack, the music in the series is amazing. It gets my heart pumping, man. I don't think a show like since Naruto Shippuden has given me like this great of a soundtrack that I'm like always fired up or like always sad. And I think with Subaru is that does he hate? We know he hates the cults and he hates that other guy, the leader, Betchelus. It's been 2 weeks, guys. I'm trying to remember his name. And we know he hates them for what they did to Ram, for what they did to Emilia, for what they did to all those kids. But the way his anger is overflowing and so much hatred and so much malice, you wonder is like, is this hatred overflowing from something that has happened in the past? Because when I refer to Subaru now, it's going to be present Subaru, and I know there's a past time Subaru. There's definitely something happened with Subaru before all this. We all know that that's the case. And its hatred is overflowing. And then Crush recognizes, oh, do you want to save Emilia or are you just going for revenge? Like revenge, is he avenging them for what happened recently? Or is it something that happened before? And I think it's something that happened before because that hatred was just insane, man. And I feel bad for Subaru because he's so desperate, you know. The way this guy's doing things is like he wants to save everyone and he doesn't mind. It's like he doesn't care how he looks anymore, at least in this episode. He doesn't mind if he looks like all crazy or maniac. He'll do anything to help Emilia or to get his revenge, basically. He doesn't care how he looks. Whether he's doing it to save Emilia or for his revenge, we'll probably know a little further down. Or, you know, fuck, man. So then he goes to the other priestess candidate, and she's the more of a bitchy one, kind of more sexier, but she's a real bitch, man. She like pulls shit out of her boobs and like pushes him down. Okay, if you want this, you're gonna have to do something for me. And he's like, what? And she's like, lick my foot. And I was like, what the hell is this turning into? And she's like, oh, show me that how desperate you are to save this woman, and he's about to do it, right? And then she kicks his ass and tells him, "It's like, oh, what you're doing isn't loyalty. It's something worse. It's something like a desperate dog depending on its owner, or like a slave depending on its master, or some kind of or a pig." And I was like, wow, that's a pretty good explanation of Subaru's character right there, where he's like all desperate. He was about to lick the foot. It was like, oh, like he was like, and then she kicks him off. And I feel bad for Subaru, because I'm like, he's all bleeding, and like these people aren't helping him. And you wonder, like, is he doing all this because he's so desperate for Emilia? And I feel bad for the guy. You know, you gotta feel bad for the guy. We all know the bullshit that he keeps going through. And he's trying to look for any dimmer life. He doesn't care where it comes from. He just wants some kind of military force, anyone to help him to defeat those witch cults and stopping them from killing Emilia. So when he goes to the another priestess, I'm pretty sure she's a priestess. I forgot about her. I have a headache right now from watching these episodes. Ugh. Fuck, man. He goes to another priestess, and he just wants like a dragon carriage. At least that's what I think was what happened. I gotta rewatch the episode. And she's like, oh, sure. He's like, oh, you're so nice, and da-da-da. And while she's talking to him, she's also getting information about the things that he's saying, or his body language, about Crush, the other priestess. And it turns out she had another motive, and she wanted some inside scoop or some dirt. And he's like, oh, you suck. You know, that's what you wanted. You know, all you people are the same. You all want some other kind of benefit. And then she tells them, oh, you're going about this the wrong way. If you want something if you want a favor for someone, dangle something in front of them that they need desperately, and keep, showing it into their faces, and offer another negotiation. That's exactly what she did to him. And then she says, come on, let's go. And you see a bunch of other soldiers stand up in the whole restaurant, and they follow this girl. I'm like, oh shit, you do not want to mess with her. And so Subaru, he gets the dragon carriage, right? And man, I'm so curious about those little dragons. We saw, was it this episode or the next one? I'll get into that later. And these little dragons, I don't know why, I think they're just like so cute. I'm like, I want to see like a real dragon, man. That'd be like really epic. I feel like the story building to this whole show is just barely beginning, and there's just so much more to explore. So he goes and he gets Rem, and him dragging Rem all over the place. He wants to try and get to the mansion before the morning, so he can try and stop them in any way possible. At least that's, I think, what happened. But then he runs into the merchants. He runs into the merchants, and they're all there like, oh, we have so much oil, we have all these things. What am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. And then Subaru's like, oh, as a favor, I'll buy them off for you, and I'll pay you for transportation. I'll give you all this money, and Rem has all this money. Here, we'll pay your body in like gold or something like that. So they're going, and they're traveling, and I'm just recapping, man. I'm so kind of rusty, guys. Fuck, this is a horrible review. They're going, and then all of a sudden this big monster shows up. Oh, real quick, the leader of the merchants, one of his men disappears, and Subaru's asking him, oh, where's your guy? And he's like, what are you talking about? There wasn't a guy there. He forgot who he was. He forgot who that person was. And then the next thing you know, we see this giant monster show up, and it's this big ass whale, man. And I was like, what the heck? And I'm thinking, like, at the time, I'm like, I wonder if that whale had anything to do with him forgetting it. And that's pretty much the episode. I thought the character development for Subaru was really interesting, because we got to see what his motives are through his actions. A lot of this is what he's doing is just revenge, and not exactly saving Emilia, which I've already said a couple times already in this review. The pacing, I really like the pacing of this series, man. And I like how they drop little hints. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot. They're passing this giant tree, right? It's huge. And we've seen this tree a couple times in the opening. And he mentions this name. Oh, legend has it, centuries ago, a wise man named Fugal, like, planted this tree. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. And then I thought, I'm like, what if Fugal is in some way, shape, or form like Subaru in the present form? Like, what if Fugal is the man that Subaru used to be in the past when he was in that world? You know, a wise man once planted this tree. You know, we know that Subaru is pride, or like one of the sins of some sort that maybe belongs to the witch or helped the witch. But so far what we know is that it's said that Subaru is pride. But like, you know, it's kind of like in Seven Deadly Sins, they all have there's their Sin's name, but then they have their real names. I wonder if like Fugal has any connection to Subaru right now. I think that'd be really interesting, especially with the whole tree, with them passing the tree, and then the big whale monster, white whale, passing them by, or like I already called it that. That was mentioned in the next episode. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the big whale is around that tree, and then mentioning the name Fugal. I don't know. I'm keeping that name in mind. I wonder if Subaru has anything to do with it. That's my review, guys. Sorry if it's a bad review. I'm trying to get back into the game, a little rusty. As far as ratings go, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. A really good episode, really good character development. And that's about it, guys. Fat Chart out.